Hello, Saints. We're finishing up Revelation this week in chapters 21 and 22, and a lot of it is more epilogue than anything else. But the most important part that I probably would draw your attention to is in chapter 21, those first 5 verses. A very important thing going on here. Let's take a look at it. And I saw a new earth and a new heaven. I'm sorry. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth passed away, and there was no longer any sea. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, made ready as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is among men, and he shall dwell among them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be among them. And he shall wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there shall no longer be any death. There shall no longer be any mourning, or crying, or pain. The first things have passed away. And he who sits on the throne said, Behold, I am making all things new. And he said to John, Write, for these words are faithful and true. This is really important. This really sums up what's happening here. Notice it says that in the beginning there was a new heaven and a new earth, for the first had passed away. They were destroyed by the fire that came down and destroyed the wicked, and it purified the earth. So we have a new atmosphere, a new earth. And then we see the city coming down, and later as we get the description of the city, we see that it's a cube. And that's important. It's not the size that's important, the fact that it's a cube. Remember, John is writing symbolism, and he takes things from the past to hang his stories on, to talk about the present and the future. And so what he's done with this cube is brought this down as the new city where God says, now you dwell with me. Now remember in Exodus there, 25 verse 8, God says, build me a sanctuary that I might dwell with you. God wanted to be with his people here in this sinful world, in the midst of them, there in the tabernacle, there in the Holy of Holies, with his presence over the mercy seat in the Shekinah glory. The temple can't hold God, but he could put his presence there, and he could be with his people. Now, his people are with him. And this is what we see when we see the new city coming down. It's a cube. Because if you remember, there's only 2 cubes in the Bible. The Old Testament has one, the New Testament has one. And the Old Testament is the Holy of Holies. Remember, there was 10 by 10 by 10 cubits. This new city coming down is God's place. It's a cube. Now we dwell with God. And no more tears, we live forever. And here in this, he makes this final covenant statement. Behold, the tabernacle of God is among men, and he shall dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be among them. In other words, he readdresses by giving the covenant message again about him being our God and us, his people. But this is the last time he has to do it. This is the forever covenant. This is the covenant that establishes the eternal and forever kingdom. This is truly the end of the story of sin, because now we are in the new earth, dwelling with God. Very important for us to see that the whole book of Revelation was about God restoring everything and expunging sin from the cosmos. It started on earth, the book of Revelation, with Jesus and his church militant. It ends on earth with Jesus and his church victorious. The story of Revelation begins and ends on earth, and yet in the middle sections, we see it taking place in the heavenly realms, where he is fighting and preparing a place for belonging for you and I to live with him forever. Blessings.